And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show.
Yes, and shit has been wild. It's actually quite... It's been a very, very interesting 2 weeks now. I really wanted to record last week, but I'm actually really glad we didn't, funny enough. So have you guys been paying attention to the map updates for Ukraine at all?
You mean how, like, Russia's reclaiming, like, hundreds of square kilometers per day now, every day?
Well, it's even worse than that. Apparently, there are several key areas that have been kind of unknown for a little bit now, and the Ukrainians just quietly adjusted the maps literally overnight.
Interesting.
Literally barely anybody caught that they adjusted the maps. So there's a lot of forward positioning that's going on in Sumy. There's a bunch of shit going on in Kharkiv. There's some interesting developments down south that I think could indicate that the Russians might actually already be across the river. That's not confirmed, but there's some indications there. Like, it's gotten fucking insane. And it really makes you wonder, like, what exactly did these motherfuckers do to just piss off fucking everything that the Russians stand for? Oh wait, we know what it is. They tried
Putin in that helicopter?
No, they don't even care. Shit, you think Putin gives a fuck about that? No, they tried weaseling their way into a new agreement with the U.S. and the U.S. already made a fucking deal with Putin.
Interesting. So we're back at that.
Well, to be honest, that's literally what it feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and I believe it's Deep State UA.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sumy hasn't really been like a place they were actually, like, it hasn't really been the front line, or Russia hasn't really been, like, focusing on Sumy, and now they're entering, like, Sumy now. Right? And they finally made some progress into there, and it hasn't really even been, like, their focus.
Okay, so let me kind of give you a rundown of what's going on. So, originally, what the Russians intended, and if you take a look at Deep State map, you'll notice these green areas on the map.
Yeah.
These are the areas that Russia originally had, quote-unquote, occupied. Not really. These were the areas in which they moved through on their way, threatening Kiev, pushing it, across the river into Kherson, pushing into the Kharkov area and into the Sumy area and so on and so forth.
Right.
But this all had a overarching point. And the overarching point was, we're going to threaten the possibility of attack in order to get you to capitulate, which is exactly what happened in Istanbul. Now, then the British came in, Boris Johnson came in and said, hey, we're going to full bore support you, don't surrender. And then the Ukrainians were like, nope, never mind that agreement we just initialed. We're going to fight you till the end. And now I bet the Ukrainians are regretting that shit.
Yeah. That end is nearing.
But if you notice, first and foremost, it's really weird that they have the fucking rail lines on the Russian side listed. At least I believe these are supposed to be the rail lines. Yes, these are the rail lines.
Are those the black and white dotted lines?
Yeah. but they don't have them listed for the Ukrainian side, which is really fucking weird. But if I remember correctly, Sumi's kind of important in that regard. Yep, that's right. Because Sumi, if you're able to threaten the rail line in that area, that leads to, what city is it again?
Poltava?
No,
I think that's further west.
No, Krasnopilia, or whatever the fuck it is. So it leads into Krasnopilia, and then south into Velika. Well, actually, no. Does it? Where does it fucking trail off to? Wait a minute. Where do you fucking go to? You fucking stupid son of a bitch. I fucking hate this kind of shit. Oh no. That goes back into fucking... Does that go back into fucking Russia? Where do you fucking lead to, you stupid son of a bitch?
Yeah, I think that does, because... Yeah, this map could be more cleaned up than it is.
Oh yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, no, okay, so that rail line leads back into... So in reality, Sumi... So Sumi actually links into... Oh god, that makes Sumi even better to fucking take, because it links directly into the shit that Russia has. So I thought there was a fucking rail line. Where's the rail line that leads into fucking Kharkov? There was a fucking rail line that led into fucking Kharkov. Where is it?
Is that the one that's coming right near Belgorod? It's coming from Belgorod.
So it's going south from Belgorod into Kharkov.
Yeah.
And then where's the other point that it goes to from here? Unfortunately, this
map just shows.
Is it Liman? Is this fuck? Is it Liman? Or is this Kupiansk? Hold on, I'm just trying to confirm so I have my fucking locations right. I'm pretty sure this is the fucking same rail line that leads into Kupiansk. Fuck. I can't. Pretty sure there's Or am I thinking Kramatorsk again? I always get these fucking names mixed up. That's the fucking problem I'm having. But so anyways, getting back to the fucking point. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be Kramatorsk. Yeah, it's fucking Kramatorsk. That's what I would... Okay. So it's not Kupiansk, it's Kramatorsk that I was thinking of. So you got the rail line that leads from Sumy to, Sumy south, north-south and everything into Belgorod. And then, you have Kharkov down to Kramatorsk, which basically allows you to feed stuff, along the logistics lines from Poltava and so on and so forth in order to be able to do your different defensive actions. But the problem is, oh wait, the Russians are advancing fucking everywhere. You've got the little probing attack that they did into the north of Kharkov. And honestly speaking, I think that was just to offer resistance, force attention from Belgorod itself onto troops. Mm-hmm. And then with the new push coming into Sumy, mind you, I don't give a solitary fuck what anybody has to say. The new attacks into Sumy indicate that there's a wider issue going on. Mm-hmm. And if the Ukrainians just want to lose the entire eastern side of their country, I'm just going to let them do it. I'm just going to let them do it at this point. I just don't care. So, yeah. We've gotten... So again, just kind of going over individual areas. So let's start with Kherson. We got reports that they're now fighting over. Of course, Deep State here doesn't have the Kherson area updated at all, which is really funny because we know for a fact that there's a lot of the islands in the river delta and everything that have been taken by the Russians. So the Russians are forward positioned in the river basin to attack to the other side, which it's like, Mykolaiv is or Nikolaev or whatever the fuck it is looking real fucking juicy. It's like, but then further north we have the pushes that are probing, and I believe these are probing attacks because the attacks don't seem substantial enough to constitute main fighting forces. They just don't seem substantial enough. So we have the attacks coming up towards Zaporizhia, and again, they seem like they're probing attacks and diversionary strikes. It's not all that substantive, but if that's all you need in order to advance in this fucking sector, I guess so. I would think that this sector would be more important than trying to hold all the way out by fucking Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, but hey, what do I know? You just don't have a massive fucking line you're trying to defend that you're losing across the fucking board.
Yes. I'm just wondering, especially the stuff near Kherson, how easy and or hard do you think under current conditions it will be to cross the river? Is that something that's actually going to be really difficult to do, or is that something that's overblown in how hard it should be?
Okay, so it relies on two things. One, do the Ukrainians see it coming? And two, do they have assets in place in order to be able to defend? If those two questions are no and no, then it's going to be super easy. If the answers are yes and yes, then it's going to be super hard. It just depends on those two questions. If they have the knowledge and the assets to defend. So that's what it comes down to. Now, the Russians forward deploying onto these islands in the river basin is going to prevent the Ukrainians from being able to have as much of an effect on a potential crossing, especially given the fact that there are several points where they can cross out that they can potentially really, really benefit from. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be able to cross easily, but I don't think that they're going to have a hard time crossing.
What exactly about it being a river makes it so difficult, assuming that the Ukrainians had the assets to actually defend?
So you have the current.
Mm-hmm.
So the current itself is your number one obstacle. So the wider a river and the stronger the current is, the more sturdy of a structure you need for a bridge in order to be able to actually hold in place and not slip away and not break apart and so on and so forth. So that's the first thing. You need to have the current taken into account. Now then you have another glaring issue is that water, you're nice and out in the open. A machine gun on the other side of the river will have a real fun time with you. And mind you, the bridges, depending on what type of bridging equipment they use, so if you use bridging equipment rated to hold tanks, okay, cool, you can cross with a tank. But if it's bridging equipment that's rated for light vehicles and infantry, you can't cross with tanks.
Right.
So you're going to have multiple bridges set up in order to be able to ferry troops across very quickly. But the first things first is you have to get troops across the river to establish a beachhead in order to then start building the bridge. So yeah,
So
river up.
so you can't build the bridge from the side like you're wanting to cross. Oh, you have to actually cross first, then build the bridge.
Because you need to see you do not want to try to build under fire.
Ah, fair enough.
It's not something you want to try to do.
Good point.
The Dnieper is going to be exceptionally easier to cross than, say, something like the Mississippi, for example, because there are points where the Dnieper really tightens up real nicely, and I can kind of tell you more than likely where the Russians are going to cross the river. Kharkovka, which is where the Kharkovka Dam was when it got blown.
Oh yes.
That nice little area down there, that's more than likely where they're gonna push across. Or what they'll do is they'll take the islands to the north of, just south of the Kharkovka, and then they'll take the islands to the south that are down by Sadove, and then they'll cross somewhere in between those with multiple bridges. With the essence being that if you have these two areas secured and then you can push through the middle and break through there, that is a good option as well. You can historically just look at a lot of bridging operations that have been done, like, major bridging operations, like Fredericksburg and a few others. There's always this element of you have to get troops across, and then you have to finish the bridge because you've already started building the bridge. These are what you call pontoon bridges. So the bridge is already partially assembled on your side of the river. You have to bring it into place in order to tie it down, tie it together, and then be able to start moving your forces across.
Right.
And mind you, this is we're finally getting out of the wet season, so the water levels are going to drop a little bit. So it's going to be easier overall to get across. So there is that consideration to be made. Hello, pup. So moving up into the I'm just gonna call this the Donetsk, or the Donbass front. So I'm gonna split it up: Zaporizhia, Donbass, Kharkov, Sumy. That's how I'm gonna split it up. So here's the thing about the situation with like the Donbass as a whole. Luhansk and Donetsk. Luhansk is almost completely liberated. There's only a few areas that are technically speaking Luhansk that are still under the control of the Ukrainians. And the same can almost be said for Donetsk. But the problem is that this is going to require the capture of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk in order to actually happen.
Are those heavily fortified?
Huh?
Are Kramansk and Slovansk, are those heavily fortified?
Slavyansk.
Oh, Slavyansk.
So
Yeah.
Kramatorsk is it's the main logistics hub. Stuff runs through Slavyansk into Kramatorsk. Basically, Slavyansk is kind of a fortress in and of itself. It's been fortified, and it's actually where one of the major battles. I believe the book's name is 76 Days in Slavyansk. It's where one of the major battles back during the initial parts of the Civil War happened. And then Kramatorsk, same deal, basically. Major logistics hub, so on and so forth. Now, one of the big points is you have the town of Seversk, which Seversk is kind of like the forward deployment point for the Ukrainians in that sector. And generally speaking, if the Russians continue the way they're going, so you have to come down to Toretsk in New York, as they are right now. If the Russians continue pushing through Chasiv Yar, and then they start coming up the rear into Konstantinivka. It's going to create a situation where the fighting in Toretsk, the fighting in New York, all this fighting in that bottom area there is going to immediately just evaporate because they're going to be like, oh shit, we got to get the fuck out before Konstantinivka is fucking we're cut off. So they're gonna have to fucking bail. Like it's hilarious watching the Russians fight because, and I've made this joke previously in other conversations, but I don't think I've made it on the podcast. You can tell whoever the fuck is planning this shit really likes Hearts of Iron 4. Like, you just fucking tell. Like, it's like, okay, advance, encircle, advance, encircle, advance, encircle.
Yes. So
it's the same fucking shit.
Yeah. At some point, as you say, the Ukrainians are going to have to retreat. Where do you think they retreat to? Where do they fall back to?
They cannot lose Kramatorsk, because if they lose Kramatorsk, they lose Seversk. Kramatorsk is very fucking important. The same thing with Slavyansk. But here's the problem. There's an inverse situation going on. So if you mirror to the north, going into the Kharkov sector, so this is still technically, part of the it's the seam, basically the seam between the Kharkov sector of the front and the Donbass sector. So you have the city of Liman, which it was really funny. I remember back, a year and a half now since the Russians pulled back from Liman and pushed back to the what's the name of this stupid river? I forget the name of the river. Is it this river? Ader? Is that the name of the river? Ader? I don't remember. I just don't remember the name of the fucking the river that they pulled back and established as their line of defense. I'm pretty sure it's the Ader River, right here. But anyways, so originally the Russians are pushed up to the Oskil. They have to pull back, reconsolidate, and actually reposition themselves in order to be able to then consolidate the line, set up defense, and then they can push back out later once they have the forces available, because this is back when they only put 120,000 troops into the fucking theater, and they're like, okay, well, we need to double that. So they started doubling, and now they've more than fucking basically coupled it. There's just so many forces that they have at their disposal, it's unfucking real. And this is also why they're rotating out forces the way they are, because they're able to have troops in for a month, pull them out, send the troops in, pull them out, send them in, and just continuously rotate forces so units aren't sitting on the line for, 6 months at a time, just fucking getting haggard as hell. But the Liman is basically the linchpin from the north. So if you have Konstantinivka, leading into Kramatorsk, you have Liman leading into Slavyansk. And the problem is that's if they lose Liman or they lose Konstantinivka, they can lose either Kramatorsk or Slavyansk. But if they lose Kramatorsk, they lose Slavyansk. If they lose Slavyansk, they lose Kramatorsk. And if they lose one of those, then they immediately lose the other. And then, of course, they lose Seversk, which, oh, by the way, Seversk is one of their main forward deployment points. So they are in a really delicate fucking situation in this sector, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious to me.
Assuming that they lost, assuming that those three things fell, and they were being rational about this, where would they then fall back to? Where is the next place that needs to be defended?
Hold on. I'll have to try to find one of the other maps because Deep State doesn't have the had the defensive line information in place. Unfortunately, I can't remember where the defensive line is located. Exactly, because they are working on a secondary line to fall back to. So they are working on it. But the problem is, at this point in time, once this gets blown open in this sector, they're just gonna push straight for Dnipropetrovsk. Like, they're just gonna push straight for it, and it's just going to blow open like a fucking can. And there's nothing that they can fucking do, because it doesn't matter what kind of fucking defense you have at that point in time. You have lost a massive forward position that you built up years and years and years using, and now you're fucked. There's also the issue that if this coincides with a strike from the south in the Zaporizhia sector, you're talking, you know, these two big arms converging together and potentially forcing a huge capitulation of forces. And this is how the Russians like to fight. They like to force mass capitulations, because it's easier to fucking just get them to throw their guns down than it is to fucking kill them. True. So, oh, finally it loaded. Started loading. Oh, come on, Deep State. You fucking little wankers. Are they really only reporting what I think they're reporting? Yeah, I think Deep State's only reporting what's behind the Russian line at this point in time. Or it's incredibly dog shit and taking forever to load. Alright, well, unfortunately, I cannot fucking... I don't remember the name of the other fucking map, the Russian map. I just don't remember it. I'll have to see if I can find it. But yeah, what it looks like is that that Deep State is only recording positions behind the Russian line that have already been captured, and or are Russian positions themselves. So basically they're just being little bitches and just stop mapping everything. But hey, whatever. Not like the Russians don't know where everything is anyways. It's like, fucking hell. Anyways. But yeah, so that's my opinion, is that when they lose this, you know, Liman, Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantivka, and Seversk, you know, when that area right there pops finally and they lose it, it's going to blow straight towards fucking Dnipropetrovsk. Like, there's just going to be a straight line to Dnipropetrovsk from that point on.
And where then, is Dnipropetrovsk?
So if you look at the city of Zaporizhia, Dnipropetrovsk is right north of it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And no, Ukrainians, I will not use your stupid fucking names.
What do they call it?
Dnipro.
Oh, it's Dnipro. I didn't know that in Russian there was also Petrovsk in it.
Yeah, Dnipropetrovsk is its actual name.
Fair
Just
enough.
like it's not Kyiv, it's Kiev.
Exactly.
You fucking
and everyone knew it was Kiev up until like a couple of years ago. Everyone called it Kiev because that's what it is.
Well, everybody referred to it as Kiev until they signed that fucking bill, and then Google was like bullied into changing it.
Indeed. No, when you go to a restaurant, no one orders chicken Kiev, right? They order chicken Kiev.
So then you've got just moving up, you know, because basically at that, you know, that's the only thing you really have to be worried about down here in that area is, you know, Izium and all that. It's all part of that whole equation down there. Now with Kharkov, I really think Kharkov is going to develop almost exactly to do with like the Donetsk River, and then what's this river called? I have no idea how to fucking say that. Fuck it, whatever. They're basically, I think that the entire situation over here is going to develop exactly in accordance with the rivers, and then you're going to have little piecemeal, advances based because there's so many fucking rivers in this area. It's unfucking real. And I don't know anything about the rivers themselves. I just know that they're not like small. They're decent enough that they can stop vehicles.
Right.
So it's gonna develop slowly going around Kharkov, and then what's gonna happen with Kharkov is that they're gonna fucking lay siege to the city. They're just gonna surround it, and then they're gonna cut it off, and then at that point in time, it's like, okay, well, guess what? Either you surrender or you starve. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. And that's kind of how I believe Kharkov is going to develop. I don't think that they're going to try to storm the city necessarily. They might. They might say fuck it and just go for it, but I doubt that's how it's going to play out. And I kind of think the same thing for Sumy. I think overall they're going to slowly strangle these places rather than just being like, hey, we're just going to storm them. It's like, nah, we'll just leave, 20, say we'll take a division, and we'll just leave a division in control of keeping the city contested, and then have the rest of the forces start pushing towards different points. Now, here's the thing: is that there was something said, and I forget exactly. I don't remember if it was before the 2-hour conversation that Trump and Putin had, or if it was that conversation. But there was a conversation where a remark about 8 regions was made, or something like that. And basically, at this point in time, I think the entire eastern side of the country is gone. I just think they're done. They're like, nah, fuck off.
And when you say eastern side, do you mean everything east of the river, of the Dnieper River, or?
Yes. Yes.
So they're even pushing to like Poltava and stuff.
Yeah, I believe that they're going to literally, more than likely, Kiev will come with it. More than likely, right. And that Kiev will become a new like gateway to between the east and the west kind of deal. But I don't see, I just don't see I don't see the Russians just giving it up. And if the Ukrainians don't accept that, then, well, they can lose Odessa.
You think that Kiev would fall before Odessa would? Odessa,
no, I think
Odessa's pretty close to the front right now.
Yeah, no, I think Odessa is probably going to be after they push into the Kramatorsk area. They start pushing up into the Zaporizhzhia area and so on and so forth. Once they start getting to the point where they fully liberated Donetsk and Luhansk, again, Luhansk is basically fully liberated, but there's still some contested parts. But Donetsk really needs to be liberated, and Kramatorsk is part of Donetsk. Same thing with Slavyansk. There's a lot of parts of Donetsk that still need to be liberated. Once that happens, then I personally believe the offensive into Kherson and Zaporizhzhia is going to pick up. That's my personal opinion. Is I think it's going to push those two areas very heavily, and then Sumy and Kharkov are just going to kind of be secondary operations, where again they're going to focus on surrounding and starving the cities out. Welcome back to Third Generation Warfare, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready to rumble! We don't give a fuck about that 4th gen bullshit here, and your 5th gen, well, the only thing from your 5th gen that has to count here is, well, good old drone firepower.
So, do you think that in their desperation, once they they start to begin losing Zaporizhia, they're gonna like attempt to make that nuclear plant there melt down or something in order to just fuck with the Russians.
There's very, 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 very little likelihood of that. Yeah, there's very little likelihood of that happening. We're talking. We're talking a massive, massive strike. Like you're talking GBUs out the wazoo in an attempt to words. Massive attempt with GBUs that are able to penetrate deep in order to ignite off those bunkers. And even then, they probably already have those fucking reactors spun down. They've probably already gotten all of that stuff fucking out as much as possible.
Probably. Because I wouldn't put it past the Ukrainians if they could. They aren't...
Huh?
I said I wouldn't put it past the Ukrainians if they could. They probably would have tried to. Because they're not they're not above doing that.
Well, that's the thing is, again, like, I don't see them being able to fucking cook off the power plant. The ZPP, I don't believe they can muster together the assets needed in order to cook it off.
Fair enough.
Also, that's going to literally, they're literally going to, let's say, they're not going to win any sympathy if they cook off off a nuclear power plant.
Right.
It's just, they're not going to win any sympathy because people already have this distrust of nuclear power because of Chernobyl. Imagine if the Ukrainians deliberately targeted a nuclear power plant to cause it to cook off and then spread radiation. Like, it's just not going to go well. I just don't see it as an issue.
Fair point. So what do you think the timeline will be for when all the... How long do you think until Kramatorsk and Sloviansk... How long do you think they have left?
Honestly speaking, I do not believe that they will pretty much at all survive past the next I'd say this coming August, September, basically going into the fall, there might just be a massive fucking change in the situation, and I don't think they're fucking ready for it. I don't believe that they're ready for it, and it's not going to look good on Europe. Let's say that.
No.
Because Europe is, Europe is not going to like it.
No. Well, you see how Germany is already talking about bringing back their draft now?
Well, everybody's talking about bringing back their draft and all that bullshit.
You think it's just empty threats, or do you think they'll actually do it?
What I think is going on in regards to the shit that they are trying to push, simply put, they're trying to scare people. I think what they're trying to do is just spin everybody up into a tizzy at all times. You know, if, oh, we're bringing the draft back, you know, it's going to scare people into a reaction, and they're going to push policy that prevents them from getting drafted as much as possible. Well, what prevents them from getting drafted? Oh, we have to support Ukraine, we have to support Ukraine, we have to support Ukraine. Ukraine has to fight the fight, or else I'm going to get drafted. And that's just the mentality. That's just the mentality that they're going to have. Period. End of story.
Right.
So it's all about fear at the end of the day. Like, it's about scaring people into compliance.
Sounds about right.
So, now there is the considerations that have to be made in regards to the possibility that the Europeans really are really retarded enough to think that they can, in fact, win a fight against the Russians. And Europe, I'm just warning you now, the U.S. will not be there to help you. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to get drawn into this fight exactly how Russia needs you to get drawn into this fight, because, and this is the important reason why they're wanting to rush having Ukraine added to NATO, is because what's the important thing about Article 5?
Doesn't everyone has to is it that everyone has to kind of agree to it, or what?
Nope.
No,
that's not what it is.
What is it?
The language for Article 5 is NATO territory. Not NATO troops, not NATO equipment, not NATO planes, NATO territory. And thus, if they do not get Ukraine into NATO before NATO troops are sent into Ukraine, they can't Article 5 this situation. Which is why every time we have dared Macron to go into Ukraine, he has bitched out very quickly because he can't use Article 5.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, for all the dumb fucks that want to talk shit and be like, oh, we came to the help and the aid of the Americans under Article 5. Yes, because our territory got attacked.
Yes.
That's the reason. You agreed to abide by Article 5. Congratulations. You decided to enforce the treaty. Now, sorry to tell you, but we're not going to be agreeing to that this time around, because this ain't our fight. This is some backyard bullshit that you guys decided to start, and Victoria Nuland, Anthony Sullivan, and Tony Blinken were all too happy to get down in the mud with you. Well, sorry, your friends are no longer working for us, so you can go fuck yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing: is that they're gonna try to start something with Belarus as a prerequisite for this. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, because you have the situation with Lithuania and Belarus. Basically, Lithuania wants to reclaim the Commonwealth and shit like that. You know, Poland's whole bullshit. But Lithuania is actually stupid enough to think they can do it. Okay. Nice hat trick, bud. Let's see how it works out. But the problem is that they just don't understand that it's not going to work out the way they want it to. Because, Kaliningrad is sitting right next door, and Kaliningrad is basically just a big-ass military base at this point in time, so good luck, have fun. I don't believe your chances are that high, to be honest. And, let's face it, the Baltic states need to just get nuked. Those dirty fucking Baltic swamps killed 4 of my boys. I want fucking reparations for my boys. So, as reparation, we're going to be issuing 4 ass beatings to the Baltic states. And in the form of those ass beatings, Lithuania can catch 1, Latvia can catch 1, Estonia, you're getting 2 because you're just extra retarded. Oh man, no. I guess we should cover kind of the situation because it is in relation to the war, technically speaking. The situation where the Estonians, detained a tanker ship a few weeks ago, like a month ago, something like that, and then they tried to detain another one last week or something like that.
I'm guessing a Russian tanker ship?
Not a Russian ship, but it's, it's sailing without a flag. It's a pirate ship, and it's like, oh, fuck off. But the way that they were going about it, like they're hardcore violating fucking international treaty, and they expect oh, you have to respect international treaty, and it's like, well, you motherfuckers can't respect the international treaty to save your fucking life, so why should we give a fuck about you? It's just Estonia is just extra fucking retarded in my opinion, and I don't care for it. Like the Baltic states, if you come from the Baltic states, congratulations, you're retarded.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume you have a room temperature IQ.
Sounds about right. Not to be confused with the Balkan states, in which they have a room temperature IQ in Celsius.
Oh, that's evil. That's evil. I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared whatsoever for that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed this.
Have you ever talked to a Balkaner?
Yes.
Yes, I've talked to Serbians, Bosnians, fucking Albanians. I've talked to all of them. Hey, real quick, I'd just like to point out, like on Deep State, like they literally have a couple icons on the map, on top of Slovakia and Hungary.
Oh yeah.
That if you click them, or Bond's pro-Russian regime and pro-Russian clown Fico, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna earn. If I were the Slovakians and if I were the Hungarians, I would be stealing back our land from the fucking Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
saying.
some apparently spies from Hungary were arrested in those regions of Ukraine.
I almost forgot about that.
Where
Thank you.
apparently they were prepared. They were investigating what would be feasible. If annexing that territory would be feasible or not, allegedly. So yeah, it seems at least one of those people is already considering it.
Yeah, well. At the end of the fucking day, to be completely frank, like, I'm not gonna weep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. I do not give a solitary fuck about Ukraine.
Honestly, I don't know why places like Poland aren't also considering it, because places like
So that's the thing, is that they might be.
Yeah.
Like there's a good chunk of fucking Western Ukraine that they could take. The problem is that Poland understands that if they do that, they're gonna have to contend with the ultra nationalist elements in those areas, and they're gonna have to be ready for a fight.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that they're probably not willing to go too hog wild because they don't want to deal with the consequences of having those people in their country.
So, or is that like way out in western Ukraine? Is that where most of the ultra nationalists are coming from?
No, actually, so a lot of the ultra nationalists. So, do you guys know where Azov comes from?
Yeah. Wasn't that from Mariupol?
No, Kharkov.
Oh, Kharkov.
So the original form of Azov was the Kharkov men's soccer club.
Huh.
So it was a
Football hooligans?
soccer.
Or soccer hooligans?
Huh. Yeah, it was a soccer hooligan group that that then went fucking ultra fucking douchebag. And then, they would eventually travel across the country and be raping and burning people and so on and so forth, eventually ending up in Odessa. After Odessa, they would try to go to to Crimea. This is where the Russians occupying Crimea became a thing. And then eventually they would make their way over towards Mariupol, and then the rape of Mariupol would occur shortly after.
Yeah.
Which is really funny listening to the real quick, I gotta go find it real quick. I was reading this really funny fucking take from somebody.
I honestly did not know, but it's so fucking fitting that Azov were originally just fucking soccer hooligans.
Yeah, that is the ironic part about it, is that like literally they were nothing but soccer hooligans.
Yeah.
And they thought they were top shit. Like, it is what it is. But it also turns out, get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is from Dennis Prokopkin, fucking loser. All right, let me go ahead and let me just link his shit real quick. All right, there you go. This guy claims to be a commander in Azov itself. I'm just gonna read off the fucking tweet, just because fuck him. Not a single Azov fighter was among the 1,000 Ukrainian prisoners of war exchanged over the last 3 days. At the same time, the bastard has asked his prison guards for a knife to cut the ones from Azov has returned home. Okay, so dude is pissed because not a single Azov fighter was included. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to point something out. A lot of people still talk about Azov as if it's nothing more than a particular named unit in the Ukrainian National Guard. That's not the case. It's a paramilitary militia that they folded into the National Guard in order to keep the funding for the unit coming in, because the U.S. Congress suspended the funding for the paramilitary group Azov Brigade.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Because they were basically neo-Nazis.
Well, they are neo-Nazis. What do you mean?
Exactly.
If they could cut a Jew, they're going to cut a Jew. If they could cut a Russian, they're going to cut a Russian. If they could cut a fucking Pole, Hungarian, fucking Romanian, it doesn't matter. They're going to fucking cut them. Like, they're douchebags. They're fucking shitheads that need to be shot. Bleep that out. But anyways. Like, but the point is like, they're terrible fucking people. And they need to be fucking called out as such. Like, I see him bitching, and I don't know if I replied to this, but I'm going to make fun of him after this. Just because I'm like, get fucked, nerd. This feels like mockery, of course. A cruel joke at the expense of those who have been held in Russian captivity for more than 3 years under the harshest conditions and inhumane pressure. Shut the fuck up, you fucking little weasel. we seen the pictures of the fucking shit you did to people in fucking Mariupol. We know exactly what the fuck you little shysters are about. We've seen the videos of Odessa. We've seen the videos from Kharkov. We know exactly what you fuckheads are into. Guess what? Your initiation rituals? Yeah, I would happily turn you all into eunuchs.
Yeah.
A jeer at their families, loved ones, and brothers in arms. A show of derision towards those who have given guarantees, those who have an absolute right to be prioritized for exchange because they went into captivity not at their own free will, but by the order of the High Command. Just days ago, Ukraine marked the 3rd anniversary of the day when the Mariupol garrison left Azovstal, hoping that the fighters of the 12th Azov Brigade would be included in the announced 1,000 for 1,000 exchange. Those expectations failed. I will never believe the nonsense about Russia's reluctance to release Azov fighters being the sole reason for their repeated absence from exchanges. If that were truly the case, neither I nor the other Azov fighters would have returned from captivity. That is not the reason. If the established mechanism has stopped working, then expecting a different result every time is madness. The strategy must change. If the Russians refuse to exchange Azov fighters for their regular soldiers, we must find alternatives, offer them someone more valuable than a contracted soldier from Omsk. By the way, Omsk is fucking beautiful, and some of the pictures I've seen from out there are fucking amazing. Ukraine is packed with Russian agents. All of our special services know this very well. The only thing they need is an order. I am confident that the Russians would be far more interested in the priests of the Moscow Patriarchate who openly work for Russian special services than in the soldiers Russia floods Ukrainian soil with. I love this stupid. The retardation and the fucking, arrogance in this dude's fucking post is fucking palpable. I am reading this in the snarkiest fucking tone possible just to kind of put it in the light that it is. Mm-hmm. At the same time, Ukraine should work on its own engagement in exchange processes between our Western allies and Russia. We have unique experience, knowledge, and information that is invaluable to the Western world. These, too, can become part of our exchange leverage. There are always options. We simply need to adapt and seek out the new paths and configurations, because not a single Azov fighter among the 1,000 exchange POWs is a disgrace to the entire state. I do not believe that our government is interested in bringing Azov service members home, while the same people continue to ineffectively manage prisoner exchanges for the 4th year in a row.
Translation: let's kidnap priests and ransom them for soldiers. Let's kidnap civilian priests and hope to ransom them to the Russians for neo-Nazi fucking terrorists.
Bro, honestly speaking, if it wasn't for the fact that this dumb fuck might actually kind of be like, oh, we're gonna start executing the priests unless you start releasing our guys. Honestly speaking, I would just start straight up fucking popping them in the head. Yeah. I just wouldn't even care at this point. It'd be just vibe check.
And Stoner made a good point in the comments about how, if you saw those videos of, the prisoner exchanges happening, on the Russian side, it was a bunch of, old women and children and shit that the Ukrainians took from Kursk, and the Russians were returning, soldiers. But tell me again, the Russians are the bad guys.
Oh, fucking get that video then. Stoner, try to find that video and fucking we'll put it into the broadcast. Yeah. Because I did not see that. I did not see any videos of the exchanges. So that tells.
Good.
But the exchange also took place, and dude, at this point in time, I'm convinced that every time something big happens, there's going to be a cyber attack on fucking Twitter.
True.
But the exchange happened one of the days that Twitter was having problems.
Oh, yeah, but so my understanding from seeing that is, yeah, they basically kidnapped a bunch of just civilians from Kursk, and those are the people they were trading for POWs, for Ukrainian POWs.
You do realize that all that's going to do is piss off the Russians even more. Like, I can only imagine that there are people just fucking flooding the fucking telegrams with fucking, like, calls for fucking just beheading every single fucking Ukrainian prisoner.
Yeah.
Like, I can just imagine it now.
Do you think that might have been what caused that massive missile barrage on Kiev that the Russians have just done?
No, I think the so here's the thing. I'm gonna point this out to you guys. There's a lot of like black-pilled Russians that are bitching online, being like, "Oh, Putin's not pushing hard enough. He's not pushing hard enough. He's not pushing." I'm sorry, but if I look at a map, and I did see a map of where the strikes were, and like pictures accompanying like the zones where the strikes were hitting, bro, the Kiev's infrastructure is fucking almost nearly gone. Like, the city is borderline isolated at this point in time. If it wasn't for the amount of Soviet-era redundancy built into the infrastructure would be fucking gone. Like, if it was U.S.-level infrastructure, because, mind you, the U.S. doesn't have that much redundancy whatsoever. If it was U.S.-level infrastructure, the entire, like, say, New York would be fucking blacked out completely. It'd be dead. There'd just be nothing working. Like, that's how fucked the infrastructure, the electrical, water, and a few other things, like, that's how fucking hit they are. So, boo-hoo. Cry me a fucking river. Fucking womp womp, little nigga. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just like, sorry, you had plenty of opportunity to fucking end this bullshit, and y'all douchebags wanted to just keep fucking trying to fucking fight. It's like, okay, well, I don't feel bad for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? Womp womp.
Indeed.
And that's the thing, too, is that, you know, and there's going to be a lot of people who bitch and whine and cry about that take. Like, I know right now there are a shit ton of fucking Israelis that would be freaking the fuck out because I had that kind of take. They'd be like, oh my god, you fucking lost your shit, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And I'm like, no, I'm perfectly fucking capable of saying I don't like the fucking Ukrainians at all. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry, I've only met shysters when it comes to Ukrainians. I have never met a decent Ukrainian, to be completely frank and fucking honest.
Also,
I've treated them cordially, and I've been, you know, I've interacted with them quite a bit here in Ohio, but otherwise I'm just like, nah, I want nothing to fucking do with you people. There's a reason why I don't go to North Royalton.
Yeah, and I do have to point out the extreme irony of Israelis of all people complaining that you were talking about being indifferent to a city being bombed. It's like,
yeah,
like,
well,
like, what looks worse right now, Kiev or Gaza?
Well, okay, and here's the fucked up part is, and I've thrown this. There was this one Israeli chick that I threw this right back into her face. I'm like, if you're mad about Gaza fucking launching October 7th, then you should be pissed about the Ukrainians launching the bullshit they did back in 2014.
Yeah.
You should be as outraged at the Gazans or at the Ukrainians as you are as the Gazans.
Yeah.
If you're not, then congratulations, you're siding with the fucking Nazis. Good job, have fun. I do not care about you at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there is this one Israel, or this one Jew. She's married to a Ukrainian. And, of course, if she heard me fucking say half the shit I have to say, she'd fucking block me and fucking just drag me through the mud as hard as she fucking can. She would try to hunt me and my family down and shit like that. And I'd just be like, yeah, get fucked, bitch. But, you know, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. What? Yeah.
No, and here's the really fuck.
She could be like the punchline of a joke, right? What's the one thing more insufferable than a Ukrainian, a Jewish Ukrainian?
Victoria Nuland, Anthony Sullivan,
Yes.
Tony Blinken.
Of course.
It's really ironic that, you know, the three motherfuckers that are responsible for getting us involved in this whole shit show, responsible for starting this shit show, and also in general actually being the ones running the government post 2020 until 2024. All three of them are descendants of Ukrainian Jews. It's really ironic.
Yeah.
Not sus at all. And no, that's the only reason why they get a fucking pass. But they don't even get like that is the hilarious part about the Israeli crowd, like the Jewish crowd in general. That's the hilarious part. Somebody like Victoria Nuland, Anthony Sullivan, and Tony Blinken, they don't get a pass from them, but they at the same time they get a fucking pass. It is fucking. These people have. They have no logical fucking step ladder that they're fucking or logical step function that they're following. Sorry, I said step ladder. I meant step function.
Right.
They have no logical step function that they are following. Like, okay, wait, so you're mad at them for subverting the president of the United States, but then you're also not mad at them because Russia bad.
Yes.
It's kind of like the confused Spider-Man meme. And it's just labeled confused Jew, confused Jew, confused Jew.
Yes.
It's like, fuck, dude. Like, how do you guys fucking come? Like, how are you able? And mind you, Halsey, and in my opinion, Halsey actually kind of is onto something. Because I think that most Jews have fucking thought themselves into this, you know, obstacle course of line of thinking.
Yeah.
Like the number of hoops and shit that they have to jump through in order to be able to justify this shit in their mind is fucking hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
But also another problem is, and this is a decent chunk of the problem is the Russian diaspora in Israel, because you have a bunch of Russian Jews that live in Israel, of course.
Right.
And they fucking hate them because they're like, oh, they're just a bunch of communists. And I'm like, okay, so you're mad at the Russian Jewish population because they're communists, but then the government that they supported falls. Yes.
Wait, I thought the Russian Jews in Israel would have been the ones who fled the communists. No.
No, because if you look up the kibbutzim are nothing more than communists.
Huh.
Like, it's, bro, Israel, like, it's fucking hilarious to me. Like, Israel and Ukraine, like, they're like peas in a pod while also wanting to fucking, like, murder fuck each other. Like, it's like if you dropped a Drukhari and a fucking Eldari into a fucking hole and covered it up for the night, you know, is there gonna be a dead Drukhari, or is there gonna be a murder fucked fucking Eldari at the end of the day? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
But no, like, dude, like, Russia bad, and it's like, okay, I'm sorry, like I don't have the same opinion as you. Congratulations, I think differently.
Yeah.
And then of course I get called a Russian propagandist and shit like that, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then they get real big mad
Sounds
that
about right.
I just agree with them.
Yeah.
Like like they get really mad that I just agree with them. Like that I don't even fight back. I just agree with them, and then they get so fucking mad.
Sounds par for the course for them.
Well, it's because they're fucking retarded.
Yes.
Like they're just literally fucking retarded. What the? But yeah, no, it's just it's absolutely fucking hilarious to me. And what makes it even worse, in my personal opinion, is the people who sit here and they want to talk this shit about like anonymous. Oh god, oh god. Hold on, let me go find Anonymous's bullshit real quick.
What stupid shit did that Estonian say now?
Yeah, the fucking stupid ass Estonian. It's really funny how he fucking talks so more. Like it's funny that he talks so much shit, and yet he literally lives in a country that if we were to literally just disregard its existence and pretend it didn't exist, it would die on its own. But whatever. Um, um,
Was there something in particular really fucking stupid he said recently that you're looking for?
oh yeah, no, there was like something so retarded it was unfucking real.
Par for the course for that account.
Uh oh fuck, can't see it. I might have replied to it. Hold on, I'm trying to find it because it's kind of. It was just so fucking retarded that I was like, what the fuck?
That bad.
Oh, okay. So, first the hackers, then the troll farm operators. If you work for a Russian/MAGA troll farm, you still have time to walk away right now. And my reply to this was, Anon need to take down their competition. Like it's like they really do believe, like they have this idea, and mind you, most of these dumb motherfuckers that they talk about, like, yeah, there's some dudes over in fucking Asia that are cashing in on massive fucking ad split revenue and whatnot on Twitter. That's why they suspended fucking ad rev in fucking India because they were fucking cashing in on shit so hard.
Yep.
But it's like, oh, hey, people like me can't exist because we said so. And it's like, well, go fuck yourself. Like, that's all I gotta say is go fuck yourself, bud. What?
On the, because it used to seem like Anonymous was pretty good. What the hell happened to him?
Oh, if you're not aware of the bullshit that involves Anonymous, so Anonymous is, it was started basically by dissenting members of the military, kind of like 4chan. And then you had other people that kind of just came in over time. Well, then eventually the leftists got big fucking mad that Anonymous was exposing them. And exposing them and exposing them and exposing them. And then eventually they figured out, like, hey, we need to infiltrate Anonymous so that we can take them down. And then they took Anonymous down in its original form, and they're like, huh, well, holy shit. We got a hold of the infrastructure. We got a hold of the, we got a hold of our enemies' information and so on and so forth. Well, now we need to figure out, how to use it against them and yada, yada, yada. And finally, they just say, fuck it, and just go full bore in the opposite direction, shift the narrative little by little and use those accounts and whatnot. Now, mind you, the Anonymous Central account, that's not affiliated with Anonymous directly.
Yeah. Funny
enough.
It's literally just some random Estonian.
Yeah, it's literally just some random ass, faggot ass fucking Estonian. But at the end of the fucking day, just the simple fact that he's utilizing the name Anonymous, he can garner a huge following.
Yeah. And one thing I think needs to be pointed out is, despite his account being named Anonymous, you can look on Twitter, he's ID verified. So, there we go. He's not even anonymous. Gave his ID to Twitter.
That's funny. I just love it.
Yep. Now, segueing a bit into, we were talking a bit about Europe before, but going away from Ukraine, did you hear about the new tariff regime Trump is imposing on the EU?
No, but I have something to comment on other tariffs, but go ahead, let me hear it, bud.
50%. Not
50%.
50 on everything. Just a blanket 50% tariff on the entire EU.
Yeah, I'm just gonna point this out to some people, because I know for a fact that I've heard some people talk shit, being like, oh hey, that's he buckled, he did this, he did that, yada yada fucking yada. A little heads up for anybody who's too retarded to know this. 50% is no small fucking number. The Chinese were lucky that they survived with a 30%. They were lucky. And yet, and yet, 50% on the EU, that will literally kill the EU. And I have zero fucks to give about it.
If anything, I'm happy. That garbage continent needs to die.
Oh, dude, that's the great part. So this is the really cool part about the situation in general. Mm-hmm. The EU is irrelevant. They are absolutely irrelevant. Period, in the story. They have no relevancy whatsoever. The problem is that across the board, most people don't understand why they're irrelevant. They don't understand why they don't have anything to do with the actual situation that's going on in the world. Because, let's face it, how does the EU influence anybody? They do it through financial systems.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when their financial systems get fucking boinked by the U.S. saying, fuck you, we're not following your rules anymore?
Yeah.
Well, then Europe loses control.
Yep.
And all you have to do is stop trading with them. And the problem is not enough nations are, stopping. All right. Sorry about that. I needed to talk my shit for a second. but yeah, so 50%, that's 50 fucking percent. Like, Jesus Christ, these people don't understand what the fuck is gonna happen to their fucking continent, and they're just too stupid to fucking get it. But so here's the thing: is you've got a situation. You know, I think we've talked about it previously. You know, the fact that the Chinese, you know, we have a 30% tariff on them. We have 10%, if I remember correctly, 10% tariff on the fucking Brits. Yeah. And then they completely slashed their fucking tariff on U.S. beef, aluminum, and steel.
Yeah.
You know, and just as this trend continues, things are just going to get more and more in our favor across the board. And it's like, okay, congratulations, you dumb fucks. What did you think? What did you think was gonna fucking happen? You faggots. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And it's not like the US or anyone really needs any more fucking shitty BMWs or fucking garbage Mercedes-Benzes or anything. Those fucking...
So you want to know what's ironic about the situation regarding like German cars and all this other bullshit that they keep bitching about? What they don't understand, these absolute dumb fucking idiots, across the board, nobody fucking uses, like how many people do you know, like, on a personal basis that actually have these cars?
Not many.
Okay, and then tell me who has a fucking Land Rover?
More people than that.
But that's the point, though, is that it's not much. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point, is at the end of the fucking day, nobody fucking has these fucking products to begin with. Like, the Europeans aren't selling shit to us. And the European people want to buy our shit. Because they can get it for fucking cheaper.
If I may, Warhouse, talking about the vehicles, I know more people that drive American brands and Japanese brands than they drive European brands.
Oh, exactly. That's the point. Is like I like the only person I know that drives a fucking Volkswagen, for example, is my fucking dude, fucking Gavin, and he got it, and now he's like, I shouldn't have bought this.
Does he drive a Beetle?
No, he drives one of the sportier versions. I forget what it's called.
Hey, you know what's funny is me and Roro have a mutual friend who just got his hands on an antique Mercedes, and yeah, he's saying pretty much the same thing about it now too.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, from what I've heard from a mechanic friend of mine, all these like German cars, they are all the absolute worst thing in the world to actually have to work on. Like, they're just complete pieces of shit, and they're like you'd never want to have to actually work on one of these things. They're so once again, Europe L, America W. Even Japanese W. You do not want a fucking German car.
Yeah, well, at the end of the fucking...
The Japanese build a pretty damn good pickup truck, right on par with Chevy and Ford.
Well, at the end of the fucking day, like, honestly speaking, like, I just don't care at this fucking point in time. Like, European brands are just fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Like, they're just fucking garbage. So, honestly speaking, it is what it fucking is. Now, you know, there was something that I was talking to Halsey the other day, and one of the things that we were actually talking about was the you know, going back to the whole relevancy of Europe and or should I say, the non-relevancy of Europe. One of the things that got brought up during that conversation, it was really funny because a Brit got really offended, like super fucking offended. But one of the things that got brought up in this conversation was the shipping insurance industry. And it's literally the only industry that's hanging on in London. Banking is going bye-bye. The Forex trade is getting ready to move out of London because the US is fully adopting crypto. And it's like, what do they have? They have fucking shipping insurance. Well, here's the problem for the dumb fucks in London is Russia is insuring their own fucking ships. And this is also another thing that has to do with Estonia being fucking retarded, is that they're specifically targeting ships that have Russian insurance. If they're not listed on the London exchange, it doesn't count to them. Period in the story. Their registration's invalid, their insurance is invalid, yada bullshit. So it's like, go fuck yourselves, you stupid little fucking gremlins.
Yeah.
I hope you die.
So what exactly are they doing with these ships after they, like, detain them? Are they letting them go, or are they just, like, stealing shit from them?
Oh, they're detaining them, and then they're basically they're preventing them from sailing into Russian ports. Like, they're just harassing. That's all they can do. That's all they can fucking do. But they're harassing them and forcing them to do all this different shit and whatnot, and they're trying to get them to do this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. They're also trying to... So do you remember the oil price cap that they put on oil?
Yeah.
From Russia?
Mm-hmm.
So they're also trying to enforce that. But here's the problem. Do you know how many ships you would need in order to fucking enforce that treaty? Or enforce those sanctions?
A lot.
I should say. Yeah, you're talking like 100 plus fucking ships.
And
like, at least.
That doesn't seem like something Estonia has.
Yeah, nobody fucking has the ability to do it. Only the U.S. could potentially fucking do it, and the U.S. isn't willing to do it because, oh, by the way, the U.S., they like working with the Russians.
Yeah.
One of our oldest allies.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the Russians are just gonna, like, give any of their ships some sort of military escort to keep the...
They've already confirmed they're gonna start.
So, are they, like, stopping these ships in international waters, or is it only after they've, like,
they're trying. They're trying.
So,
what they're trying to do is they're trying to force the ships to come into, they're interdicting them, and they're trying to force them to come into port.
Alright. So the Russians could, in theory, sink some of these ships in international waters and not have to deal with any Article 5 bullshit.
Maybe.
They should consider doing that.
Honestly speaking, I wouldn't be fucking sad.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all opposed to just fucking people up. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not at all opposed to just being like, fuck it, let's have fun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, they probably should do it just because, why are you going to let fucking Estonia, of all places, push you around?
Well, that's the point.
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do if they're in international waters and they try to detain your ship and you just, like, torpedo them or something?
Oh, fuck. Again, honestly, I do not care whatsoever ever. These dumb fucks, they think that they're big, bad, and, important. And it's like, no, you're not.
Also, I just noticed on that map of yours that you posted, They're claiming that some of the territory claimed by Russia in, like, from Finland in World War II is still occupied territory. Like, what the fuck? Like, occupied...
Wait, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Alright, so you know that map you posted that we were going over before? So they have some stuff listed, like the parts of Finland that Russia annexed in like 100 years ago. They're still listing that as occupied territory. Like actual clown world, actual clown map.
Oh, I didn't realize that they were actually doing that. That's funny.
And stuff from the from the Baltic countries as well. Also in World War fucking II. Like, get over yourself.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's adorable.
Actual clowns.
Oh well, they think anything and everything's fucking aggression. Hell, look at Chechnya. They look at fucking Grozny.
Yeah. Question: was there anything else that has occurred over the past week or so that you wanted to go over, or have we covered all our bases?
Honestly speaking, I think we've covered all the bases.
All right then. Probably a good time to end it then. Don't want to drag this on too long.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. See you next week. That'll be all for this show.
Yeah. You guys have a good one. Bye bye.